CBS Sports HQ rolling on here. So we are one day away, one sleep away from the NFL. Chris, were you aware that we had this many changes to some of the rules?
Yeah, but I'd like a refresher because I feel like we hit it several months ago when some of these things came out. But now that the games are about to start, let's get refreshed.
So we'll give a little refresher. For more on that, we have the guy to do it. NFL officiating rules expert analyst, Walt Anderson, longtime official. So let's dive into it here. Explain to it kind of like we're five, Walt, if you will. Make us understand this. The first one's an easy one. Overtime rule change. What is changing there?
Well, Amanda, what we're doing with overtime is we made a change a couple of years ago in the playoffs. When the first team scores a touchdown, in the past, the game would be over with. And that change was made to let the second team have a chance to get the ball. In the regular season, that was not the case. That's being changed this year. So even for the regular season, if the first team scores a touchdown, then the other team at least gets an opportunity to possess the ball. It'll make for a little bit different strategy, I think, on the part of what the coaches decide to do. I don't know if it's going to automatically be that you receive, because even if the other team scores a touchdown, you get a chance to score a touchdown too, and then you can elect to go for two and win it outright if you want to.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I liked when they moved that rule to the postseason, so I'm a fan of that one. Another one is replay assist. It is my understanding that this is more so expanding to include some other things. What are they?
It's really every year, and this will be our fifth year with replay assist. We've added some items just if obvious mistakes are made on the field. For this year, if there's a flag thrown for several areas, defensive player like a receiver downfield or a hit to a quarterback, if there's a face mask thrown and it's not a foul, horse collars in that area. And so it's really a means to use technology, use obvious video evidence to help the officials get the call right on the field. So as an example, if you get a big hit downfield by a defender and the official, it looks like it's a head hit, they throw the flag, but we can see that he really hit him in the shoulder or hit him in the chest. We can just tell the officials to pick up the flag.
Finally, or not finally, excuse me, moving on to NFL kickoffs. So last year at our seminar, we had our NFL seminar. I think everybody argued for like a good hour over the kickoff changes because nobody could really understand. We've seen them now for a full season, but they're still making tweaks to it. What are those tweaks?
Yeah, everybody got used to at least the look of it. The tweak this year is last year, if you had a touchback, the ball came to the 30-yard line. That was really a compromise just to get the rule passed. This year, if the kicking team kicks it into the end zone for a touchback, that ball is coming out to the 35-yard line. That extra 5 yards is probably going to prove to be a significant change in field position. And so, that the dynamic kickoff is really there to reduce injuries, which it has done, and also to incentivize returns. We want to get the return back in the game. We made some effort in that last year. We got up to 33% from a low of 22% 2 years ago. But the league wants to get that up even higher. We feel like moving the ball out to the 35-yard line is going to incentivize teams to have to cover. Not too many teams are going to want to give the ball to most offenses at the 35-yard line.
Let's talk about first downs. There will still be the chain gang. They're not losing their jobs or anything like that. But there is going to be technology being used for those first downs. How is that going to work?
Yeah, it's really the Hawkeye system is going to just really use software to have a virtual measurement. So it doesn't change how the officials spot the ball. The officials will put the ball on the ground, and instead of taking the time to physically bring the chains out, there are 6 cameras. They take a snapshot of the football. It allows their system to determine where the ball is relative to the first down. And so the hope is to just reduce the amount of time to physically bring the chains out and get back to action on the field.
That makes sense. Finally, and I thought this was interesting, sportsmanship. And there's some changes to that. They would like players to be a little nicer, and I guess you could call it a little less rude, maybe. How do you even begin to implement some more sportsmanship in the game?
Amanda, what the league really wants is just to make sure that players not only respect the game, but they respect their opponents, they respect their teammates. And so what we saw last year was an increase in instances of taunting, as well as other unsportsmanlike, inappropriate gestures. So the league has just emphasized that to the teams. They've certainly emphasized anything that demonstrates or mimics the shooting of a gun, inappropriate gestures like a throat slash, getting in the face of your opponents, obviously with a taunting action. We just want to make sure that players are allowed to celebrate. So, a lot of people think that this is, eliminating celebrations. You can certainly celebrate. What you can't do is disrespect your opponent. And so that's really where the emphasis is.
Chris and I learned, what was it, that it's like a seatbelt. Have you seen that? Yeah, they're celebrating with like a seatbelt. We thought it was a sword.
Lock them up.
Apparently it's a seatbelt. Walt, we appreciate your time so much.
Give us a horns down, Amanda. You can do that in the NFL, right? The horns down?
You can do that in college football.
No, you can't. You'll get thrown in football jail if you do the horns down.
Rule?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I'm going to get Walt to come over to college football and change that. The NFL's back on CBS.